No? Okay.
What I'm here to talk about specifically today is mobile gaming. So I want to, before I get started, I want to just ask a few quick questions to understand what your backgrounds are, where you're coming from. So for everyone who is a gamer, could please raise their hand. If you consider yourself a gamer. Now keep your hands raised. Keep your hands raised if you are also a mobile gamer. Okay? Cool. And you keep your hands raised still if you are a mobile gaming content creator, like you do mobile gaming content on your channel. All right, small number. I'm going to be hitting you up for questions. Let's go ahead and get started here. So mobile gaming on YouTube. Mobile gaming provides both gaming and non-gaming creators a way to bring in new audiences and new revenue. We're going to talk a lot in the next 10 minutes or so about the ways that you can consider doing this for your channel. But before we get into YouTube, let's put YouTube aside for a second and just talk about gaming overall. So, how big is gaming in the world? Or let's just say in the US to start with. Over half the US population is playing games, and this number is continuing to increase. So that's what, 180 million, almost 200 million people. So when you think about that in terms of revenue, this is, I promise, the most boring chart you're going to see in this whole presentation. So in 2016, it was 33% of the total gaming industry revenue was made up of mobile game revenue. In the next few years, that's projected to go up to over half. So this is a space that is not to be ignored. And certainly when it comes to considering gaming content for your channel as a way to grow your audience, consider mobile games for sure. So in terms of who's playing games, these are some really important statistics to keep in mind. Half of the mobile gaming audience is women. And not only are women frequently mobile gamers, but they're also playing mobile games frequently, and on average they're playing them more often than men are. So since you're all content creators and you think about things like ad revenue, who can tell me why it's important to know these statistics? Why the women playing games is important? Go ahead. Sure, yeah. So it's important to know who your audience is and what they're interested in, but especially for content creators. I don't know if this is like a widely known thing, but on average, advertisers tend to pay slightly higher CPMs for female viewing audiences. There's a number of reasons for that, having to do with the fact that women are commonly the main purchasers of a household and things like this. But it's important to keep statistics like this in mind, because if you're tailoring your content in such a way that it is appealing to not just a male audience but also a female audience, you're potentially increasing your revenue. So to the extent that your content can explore game genres or game platforms beyond what you normally do on your channel, as long as you're staying within something that your audience is comfortable with and that is genuine to who you are as a creator, this is an important thing to keep in mind. So in general, mobile gaming has broad appeal and something that you should definitely consider. We'll talk about this. So we're going to do some myth busting here in the next few slides. Raise your hand if you used to have a phone like this. Okay. I was worried I was going to be the only one and feel old. Who played games like Snake on their phone? Cool. Okay. And were they fun? Yeah? They were fun at the time. Would they be fun now? Yeah? Okay, maybe in like a retro cool way. I can see that. Maybe they'll have a comeback or something. Right. But what do games look like now? On mobile, right? Has anyone heard of League of Legends? So this is a game called Arena of Valor. Arena of Valor is essentially, and no one get mad at me if you're a huge AOV fan, but it's essentially League of Legends on a mobile phone. And if you're looking for a full, spectrum experience of playing a game or close to it, as you would have on a PC or a console, mobile phones and tablets are getting to a point where the visual fidelity, the gameplay depth, and features like online multiplayer are at a level that is close to where consoles are at in PC. So over the next couple of years, you're going to see this trend continue to increase. I literally just pulled this from the headline today. This is a current news article. Raise your hand if you've heard of Fortnite. Right, so this is kind of the biggest thing in the gaming industry right now. And as of today, Fortnite is also a mobile game. And I think it's just on iOS right now, but coming to Android soon. So the gameplay experiences that you can have on mobile and that audiences will want to see are just as impressive and just as exciting as you can have from a console or PC. So there's this other myth that how do you make a lot of content, right? Maybe I can do a one-off video or something, but how do I make a recurring series that people will want to watch? And the thing is, like, you don't have to have games that are huge, in-depth story things. Like I'm playing a lot of Dragon Age Inquisition right now, which is free on PlayStation Plus if you're a member. Amazing game, but incredibly deep and very story-based. There aren't a ton of games like that on mobile, but the thing is, it's not actually necessary to have these super in-depth games and have a successful mobile content strategy for your channel. Matt Shea has done a 70-plus episode series on this game, Battle Cats, which is an incredibly simple concept, but it's worked out really well for him, and certainly other creators are using this type of strategy as well. Myth number 3, my audience won't like it. Well, as Rosanna was talking about earlier, there are multiple ways to think about this. The one that she talked about was, don't play anything that's not genuine to you. Don't do anything on your channel that's not real, for who you are as a content creator. You can work with your audience to understand what they want to see more of, or you can just play what you like and do some experimentation. There are a ton of different types of games out there. Part of the reason that there are such a variety of mobile games out there is because it's become so easy to develop games for a mobile platform because people expect free games. So, if people are willing to download almost anything because it's free, that increases the variety of games that there can be. So, if you're a little bit unsure about whether to go deep into mobile games on your main channel, consider starting a second channel. Your YouTube partner manager or me or someone on the YouTube gaming team can help you think through what's the best way to approach this and kind of get it on the mobile gaming action. So I'm just going to run through some quick examples of genres. First-person shooter games are popular, of course. Indie games, even within indie games, there's dozens of different genres. Interest games, as we say, that are kind of around particular special interest. Games about dogs, there's plenty of these. So myth number 4 is how do you sort through all of these? Well, the Google Play Store is designed and has always been designed to help you find apps and games that are of interest to you. And even if you have an iPhone, the App Store works in a similar way. So doing some exploring, looking at leaderboards of what games are popular right now, these are all great ways to understand how to get started. How do I capture? Well, luckily, the YouTube gaming app has a feature that's specifically devoted to allowing you to live stream mobile games to your YouTube channel with no extra setup, no extra hookups, just on your device itself. So it's really simple, just a step-by-step. Start live streaming, put the basic settings in, pick the gaming app that's on your phone already, add the stream info to get started, and share out a link. This is functionality that we've had in the app for a little while now, and it's a great low barrier to entry way to do this. And it's also really nice if you're on the go and you want to play mobile games like they're meant to be played, which is mobilely, this is an easy way to do it. The other way is to get a little more professional about it, and these are just examples of capture devices and recording software. This logo on the right is a piece of software called OBS. It's really flexible. This is a little bit of a step up from the previous example of how to capture, but certainly this is like if you're ready to take it to the next level. So in terms of content formats, these are just some screenshots of just a few different ways that you could kind of orient your audience to what they're watching. Because mobile games aren't always landscape, right? Sometimes they're portrait format. So for vertical games, it actually potentially gives you more screen real estate to do things like branding for your channel, to put picture-in-picture, a full picture-in-picture of a face cam. These are all face cam examples. Of course, you don't have to do that, but it's a great way to help your audience connect with you a little bit better. Raise your hand if you saw this vertical video announcement last year. Yeah, so this was a little bit more under the radar, but this is really cool actually because it means that potentially, to go back for a second, these solutions might not even be necessary. If you are diligent about going into your YouTube analytics and seeing what percentage of your viewership audience is watching your content on a mobile device, then think about uploading in vertical format to give them a full screen experience of what you're playing. And if you're using, to go back again, if you're using the YouTube gaming app to record this is like the ultimate way to do this, because you can have picture-in-picture while you're recording the video or live streaming, full screen experience. This is like the ultimate way for people to watch your mobile content in vertical format. So, I think that was the last one. Yeah. So just to recap, mobile gaming is big. Broad appeal, remember we talked about the statistics for female viewership. Any game can work as a series. It takes a little bit of creativity, but it's certainly possible. There's plenty of games out there that you can play. And it's never been easier to capture games than it is right now. Any questions? Yeah.
What are some good mobile game channels to get
Yeah, so the one that I mentioned earlier, Matt Shea, the last name is spelled S-H-E-A. He's got a ton of great mobile gaming content. It's not the only thing that he does, but some of these other ones are great too. Let me see. Yeah, actually, I think most, if not all of these, are international, non-US based examples. But let me see. So one that I watch that's US based is a channel called Nick at Night. So Nick at Night is a popular YouTuber for the game Clash Royale, which is one of the, if not the most popular mobile game on YouTube right now. And I didn't put a screenshot of him in here, but Nick at Night and his sort of community of other Clash Royale YouTubers are really forward thinking in the sorts of content formats that they do using mobile. But and this is true of gaming content in general, not just mobile games. But a lot of times the game that you're playing will be what influences your content strategy, your content format the most. Not just whether it's mobile or PC or console. Because if it's a multiplayer game, I mean, that could change, how exciting it is to watch and what type of videos you want to make. If it's a game that takes a long time, you want to play for hours and it has boring stretches, maybe that means you'll need to think about cutting it into like a highlight reel. It could be more editing time, but it could be more entertaining that way. These are all things to think about. Other questions about mobile games? Sure. The place where I look it up is confidential. so not that one, but yeah, sure. I think there are probably some leaderboards in the Google Play Store that will show the most popular games. That's certainly a good place to start. Otherwise, the best place is probably to go to gaming.youtube.com, and there's or the YouTube Gaming mobile app, and in there you can sort through a list of the most popular games being streamed or played right now. And some of those will be mobile games. Sure.
If you look at Google trend.google.com, you make the title of the game, it will show you what your results.
Yes, in case anyone didn't hear that, that's an excellent point. One of the most valuable tools to you as a content creator, if you don't already use this, is trends.google.com. In Google Trends, you can search and filter by a number of different parameters, including filtering just by YouTube search trends to find out what's popular. Thank you for that. Cool. Other questions? All right, cool. Well, as I said, my name is Walker Adamson. I'm on the YouTube gaming team, and I'm going back through all my slides so I can get to my email. Yeah, so if you have any follow-up questions or you want to know more, you just couldn't think of something right now, please feel free to shoot me an email, and I or someone on my team will be sure to get back to you and help you get started on your mobile gaming content creation journey. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Walker. All right, I'm just going to take about 5 more minutes of your time. Again, my name is Kate. I'm on the Google Play team. Wanted to talk a little bit about how we on the Play team are partnering with creators, what we're working for, who we're working with, and what we're doing in this space as it relates to women in gaming. So, as you saw in the invite, it's Women's History Month, and it doesn't mean that all of you who don't identify as women should tune out right now. Actually, pretty cool that we can tell you about an initiative we're doing, and most importantly, afterwards, we'd love to hear your ideas about how you might want to get involved, and just about Google Play in general. So, all right. So, as Walker said, many women play games, and the reason why we started looking into this is because sometimes it might sound like that is actually not the case. Gaming historically has been synonymous with maybe a male-dominated activity, but half of all mobile gamers are women, and you can see 65% of women ages 10 to 65, so everyone's playing games. And as Walker said, they're not just playing games, they're playing a lot, and oftentimes more frequently than men. And thinking about growing your channel and growing your business with new audiences, it's an important demographic to keep in mind. But I think everyone in this room might probably agree that gaming as an industry, as an ecosystem, probably has a long way to go to be a super inclusive place. In terms of representation of people who are developing games, in terms of how games are typically marketed, some audiences are not as represented as others, particularly women, people of color, both in who's making games and who is celebrated in making games. So this has pretty tangible effects. Right, so women overall are less likely to call themselves gamers. Ro and I were just talking about that before, which has some deep-rooted stereotypes and maybe why. Women are less likely to talk to their friends about gaming, and women are less likely to play new, different types of games. So even though there's major opportunity there for maybe growing your channel with mobile or thinking about playing them, there are definitely barriers that exist. So we thought a lot about this, and maybe some of you have heard about the initiative that we launched, or you're just hearing about it right now, which is awesome. But last December, we launched an initiative called Change the Game. Our mission is to celebrate and empower women both as game players and as game creators. So not just in people who are creating games, but also creators just like all of you. Won't get into too many of the details, but wanted to give you kind of an overview of how we're thinking about this. We have kind of 3 goals for the program. The first is empowering teen girls to build games so we can increase representation on the developer side. The second is promoting diversity in games and of games. So as Google Play, we're concerned with making sure that we have a diverse representation of the types of games that are shown on the store, but also of diversity in games. So one stat that always gets me is that only 15% of playable characters actually are women in games. It's probably no surprise to any of you. And third, celebrating female players, and that's you and all of your fans, or maybe your new fans if you start growing your channel a little bit. So want to talk a little bit about how we've worked with some creators in the past, and how we typically like to partner with creators, give you an idea of the types of things we're looking for, and then we'd love to talk to you again afterwards. So one of the things that we did is we worked with Sonia Ongia's Firefox to have her be in our launch campaign for this initiative. So you can see her here throughout the film playing games. She created a ton of behind-the-scenes content and talked about the video on her channels. For International Women's Day, as we just talked about, we partnered with 4 creators to hear their personal stories around gaming. So Rosanna, Sonia, Gloom, Cybernova, who all took a personal spin on their relationships with gaming to talk about it on their channels. We developed a #GirlsGotGame Night content series with Ari Fitz. What was cool about that is that she came up with the concept, she worked together, she got a bunch of friends, created some awesome content, and then we also worked with Out and Pride magazine to do interviews and talking about why representation is important to Ari and for the industry in general. And we don't just partner with gaming influencers. So some of the things that we think about is that everyone is playing games. It's really breaking into the mainstream, and so we're not limiting ourselves in the types of creators. So if you have a channel that's not an explicitly gaming channel, it's still something to think about. So we partnered with creators who have beauty-focused channels, travel-focused channels, lifestyle-focused channels, because it's likely that your audience is probably playing mobile games at some point. And then, obviously, we like to promote the work that we do. So anytime we partner with a creator, we're thinking about mobile games, we want to make sure that we're giving dedicated support. So whether that's retweeting from our Google Play channels or doing press outreach to be able to share some of the work that we're doing, that's kind of our commitment to you all when we're working together. Okay, so you're sitting here, maybe you're like, no, I just am here for the booze, I don't care. Maybe you're like, all right, no, this is cool, what can I do? How do I get involved with it? So first and foremost, as I've said a few times, this is a pretty new initiative, so we launched in December. We're looking for new ideas. We're looking for new partners. It really doesn't matter how you identify. We want to hear them and talk about it, however big or small. So this is kind of the first thing, is if you're sitting here, you're kind of like, this is a really cool topic. I think I have something that I want to say on it. Please consider maybe adding your voice to this conversation. So we'll say it multiple times, myself and Jackie, who I'll introduce in a second. We're here to talk, so please come up to us about this. We have a website. It's pretty easy to find that kind of goes over what we're looking to do, what our stance is on these issues, and how we want people to get involved with it. And then also we love to partner with different people to kind of speak out, bring their audience involved for the ride, and kind of join the conversation that is pretty critically important at this time. But some other things. Consider playing games that were made by women on your channel. So in the Play Store, we have an editor's choice section that kind of highlights 5 prominent games that were developed by women or women-led studios. Super awesome way to throw some support to these games, and they're also awesome. 80 Days is a really amazing game where it kind of takes you on this choice-based adventure through different countries. Phenomenally written, beautiful graphics. It's an awesome game. Consider playing games with female characters on your channel as well. So Play Store, editor's choice, there's a bunch there too. Super awesome, so that you can do that. And then Jackie, so as I said, please come and say hi. I'm Kate, this is Jackie, we're here. Also, feel free at any time to email your YouTube partner. They can ping us, we can get talking. So hope to hear from you. And that's all I got. So again, There's going to be a tour leaving from here in about 5 minutes or so, totally optional. Otherwise, feel free to hang out, and thank you all so much for coming.
El elevador. Ya he venido muchas veces, people, but ¿mande? No. Por lo mismo. So we can actually walk underneath this. Yeah. It's like New York. Right? New York. New York. Books. Oh, we should go to your soccer park.
Check it out. You know what's up?
We can Google map it. Google map it. I know. I'm pretty sure they're like for the employees. So with that, maybe see. Okay, give me the car keys. This looks like a maze. Playa Vista. Esta location no creo que la cierren más anytime soon.
¿Eh?
No creo que la cierren
¿Qué?
anytime soon aquí.
Did you hear what she said? It's a flagship.
That's the main one?
Have you been taking pictures like you said you were?
Nope.